Sorry, little one.
覚悟してろよ。行くぜ。
Welcome to Wordbreaker Coo's Reviews. I'm your host, Wordbreaker Coo, and today we're getting into a topic that I think a lot of you might like to hear about. So, for one, this is about female action figures. So, we're getting some really mixed signals from Marvel Legends brand, and we have for a while. So let's talk about what we're looking at. This is an example of She-Hulk that you're looking at on the screen right now, and she has She-Hulk proportions. This is a good example of what Marvel Legends can do. Lately, we've been getting figures that do not match our expectations. And this is not just to be a perv or anything like that when it comes to action figures. It's just you have certain expectations. So let's take a look first, okay? So this is another good example of a good action figure that had weather well or good proportions. This is Angela, Marvel Legends Angela. Did a great job here. Kind of hard not to do a good job since she's barely wearing anything, but her attire match your expectations. Now let's look again. This is one of the worst examples I have. So Polaris, or Polaris, depending on how you pronounce it. She is a X-Man, and years ago, when this one came out, I was very upset just because I do read the comics, and this did not match my expectations. She's a fully grown woman, and they put her on a teen body. I think this was the Hawkeye body, and it just was terrible in what your mind's eye was expecting to see. Case in point, here is her comic self compared to what you get. Not only was the head bad, but the body proportions are off as well. Look at the shoulders, look at the chest, look at the stomach. Now the hips, I mean, I guess in some pictures, some artist pictures, they have her with much larger hips, but this still was just a really, really bad example. And I think we got to get to a point where it's okay to expect expectations for what your minds are or what you believe the character should be. We do have artists that frequently draw these characters, so we do have source material. I don't understand why we're running away and running backwards. So, and we're gonna get more to this in a minute, okay? Here's just another shot, different artist, and you can see again, this is clearly not that. Look at the neckline. Does not match up at all, okay? And I know you might say, well, these were in a Target or, Best Buy or Walmart. It still should match the source material, okay? If you can have the comic posters up in stores, or if you can have this stuff bought in comic book stores, there's still no reason for why she looked like that. Let's give another example. So here we have a more recent Marvel Legends Jean Grey that's coming out. She's also had the House of X version, and this one is not only short, but the proportions are terrible. If you don't believe me, take a look at the source material that is on the cover. You can look into the comic, and does this physique match up with that? It does not. It does not. And again, you can say what you want about, well, maybe it's a different era. No, this is from House of X. So it does not match the era or her age. This makes no sense. And if you think I'm being a little bit, brutal on them, that's fine. But explain this. Okay, there's another picture of her. I'm going to come back to Emma Frost. Here's a Marvel Legends namer. Okay? No one's upset about this at all. Right? And the reason is, in your mind's eye and what you expect to see from Namor, that's what you see. Okay, he's actually just slightly less ripped, but it still matches the source material. Now going back to Emma Frost. Again, the thighs were much better in this proportion, but the upper portion of the body was just terrible. Terrible. And there's another example. Emma Frost is one of the most sexualized characters in Marvel Legends, or excuse me, in Marvel. It's part of her character, okay? She's a woman. That's a woman. This was almost there, but it was like sorry about that. Had some background noise. This was almost there, but the upper portion just did not match up. You have to do better. I mean, and again, it's about matching what your expectations are. It doesn't have to always be something pervy. I mean, it is in some extent, in some regards, but it just did not match up. Very close. So let's move on. Now, if you look at Hulk here, here's yet another character who's ripped. He's got huge muscles, very large and in charge. It's everywhere, okay? And I'm not going to talk about the double standard about men's chest, women's chest, because we're not going there. But what I'm saying is, again, this matches your expectations. And I know some of you who might think, well, it's different artists. You can draw different interpretations and it will still be okay. Well, if that's the case, keep looking. This is Hulk from Steve Dillon. Okay. We've never seen a Hulk look like this on purpose. Okay. Not in action figure form. And the reason is it looks terrible. Okay. I actually dropped this book. I know many other people as well could not stand the way this looked because it did not match your expectations. Hulk's not supposed to look like that. It looks ridiculous. Now, there's other companies that do a great job on the female figure. One that's coming up that I'm going to do a video on soon is from Cal Productions. And this here is their 1/12th female warrior. We don't need every figure to look like this. We don't. But this is just such a great sculpted figure that you have to appreciate the effort they put in. Okay? It's not about it. This is a full woman. This is fully sculpted, just excellence. Okay? It's not a Marvel Legends. This is one of the reasons why I like Loose Collector. Again, he sculpts really well, and he's not afraid to give people human proportions or comic book proportions, excuse me. Okay? He's using the source material. If you look at these two, and then you go back to look at this, you'll probably be like, well, what the hell? Emma Frost is nowhere near as curvaceous as these other figures, but she should be. At least as much as these two. This one here is just a straight up warrior. She's a G. She's like She-Hulk proportions. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. But there's no reason why Emma Frost couldn't have been like that when she is in the comics. Often. And you don't have to go that far either. Mythic Legions, again, it's about proportions. They do a great job with proportions. It fits what your mind would expect to see. X-Ray Studios. They've got some female gladiators coming out. They're doing a great job. Okay? And this one's armored up. Again, it's about those proportions. So, all in all, like I said, I still love Marvel Legends. I have cut back severely because a lot of their figures are now no longer matching expectations. So I will pick and prod and get the ones that best suit my expectations. And I'll just venture out a little bit elsewhere just to see what else other people are doing. Seeing if other figures are fluid, if they look good in different poses, things of that nature. You buy a nice card because you like to look at it, it handles well, it moves well. Last example, Mystique. You can see in the comics, she looks, again, full woman. But if you look at Marvel Legend, this was one of the worst ones I had. At the time, I was very disappointed because I always loved me some Mystique. But the problem was, even her body that they used did not match. They had teen legs on, and a grown body, a woman body, and the butt cheeks came like outside the legs. You can kind of see here, they don't match up. Like the legs are not thick enough. And that's the problem. So before anybody tells you that you have to stick to stuff like this, don't. If you don't feel like they're doing a figure justice, don't pick it up. I think I'm done picking up bad figures too. But if you like this video or content like this, please let me know. If you thought this was a bad idea, put thumb downs all through this video. Thanks for watching.